The thumbnail and title might be a little bit hyperbolic, but paint and water is the most expensive mixture you can use for acrylic paint pouring. Now it creates amazing art. Rinsky Downa, Olga Sobi on Smart Art Materials, they make some beautiful paintings with paint and water. The problem is, for beginners, especially when I started, I could not afford to use that much money on my acrylic pours. So I want to get down in dirty into the math of how much acrylic pour paint costs per ounce to show you the difference, so you can start gauging what you want to start with, what you want to learn with, and maybe you move into the paint and water as you start mastering some of this techniques with some cheaper versions of the acrylic pour mixture that you've made. So let's dive into the numbers here. All right, so here's the spreadsheet I put together, and I want to go over some of the major points before I look at individual cells. So I've broken this spreadsheet up into two sections. Each column represents a mixture of paint. So in this case, it's Liquitex paint and water, Liquitex paint and floetrol. And these are all Liquitex, and this section actually is all student level acrylics. So we're talking about Artist Loft, Liquitex Basics, Arteza, Amsterdam, Artistic Creations, all of those type of paints. They're the ones that you generally buy in tubes. They have better pigment, and they are a step up from craft paint. And then the other section we have is, like I mentioned before, the craft paint. So that's going to be the these 2-ounce bottles. Sometimes you can get bigger bottles, but it's the Craft Smart, it's the Apple Barrel, those type. It's the dollar store paint generally. Those are the paints that are considered craft paint. The reason I break these into two sections is because the craft paint just doesn't have enough pigment to mix a bunch of water or pouring medium into them. The color doesn't hold up. So I have a different calculation for that. With the student level acrylics, they again have better pigmentation, and they're going to give you more vibrant colors. Now there are colors like the golden fluid acrylics that are really pigmented, and I don't have those here because most of you guys aren't going to be buying this type of thing. I mean, this one right here was $28 or $30. Now, I don't really recommend using those until you really have mastered a few techniques and you're looking to expand your horizons. Otherwise, there's just too many things you're changing, and it's going to be harder for you to be successful with acrylic pouring. So what we've done here is each column represents a mixture. In this case, I have Liquitex and water. So this is just paint and water. If I look at this, I have my paint per ounce. So it's about $1.37 an ounce for Liquitex paint. That's because it's about $5.50 for a 4-ounce bottle. You do the math there, it's about $1.37. I'm going to talk about discounts in a minute. My medium is water, so there's no cost here. Again, there's no discount. And then when I'm mixing a student level acrylic with water, it's about 70% paint. There's really no medium, and then there's water. So that comes out to 96 cents per ounce of paint that you're creating. Now that will vary slightly depending on how much water you need to add. You know, some paints are a little bit thicker than others, so you add a little bit more, a little bit less water. And every brand of paint's going to be slightly different. But that's the general ballpark, 96 cents per ounce. And if you notice, all of the other calculations, that's by far the highest amount. It is the most expensive way to mix your paint. It is beautiful, but it's the most expensive way to mix your paint. And the other thing I've done is for each of these, I've taken that cost per ounce, and then I've shown you 4 different painting surfaces that are common. So 4x4 tile, 8x10 canvas, 16x20 canvas, 24x36 canvas. Now, this price only includes the cost of paint. It doesn't include buying the canvas or buying the tile. This is just paint we're talking about, and the paint mixture today. So a 4x4 takes about an ounce, 96 cents. An 8x10 takes about almost 4 ounces, so $3.74 of paint. 16x20, $13.62. 24x36, $35.48. That shows you how expensive it is just to get the paint for a painting that big. Now, I got these calculations from my acrylic pour calculator, which I'll show on the screen here and put a link down below, where you can easily go in and choose metric, choose standard, choose the size of your painting, rectangle, circle, hexagon, the depth of the thickness, so a 1/2 inch or 1.5 inch gallery wrapped, and it will tell you how much paint you need, and you can tell it if you want thin paint, medium paint, or thick paint. And that's where I got all those calculations from. So going to the next, this is Liquitex, or the student level acrylic, and floetrol. Now floetrol is generally 2 parts floetrol, 1 part paint, and then water to consistency, which comes out to about 25% paint, 50% medium, and then about 25% water. Again, it changes slightly based on the paint. And floetrol is about $15 per gallon, at least here in the United States. I buy it at Lowe's or Home Depot. It comes out to about 12 cents per ounce. So if I do all that math, it's about 40 cents per ounce, about half of the cost of paint and water. And then everything else, you can see the calculations there. Next is Liquitex and glue, or student level acrylic and glue. Glue is the same. It's about $15 per gallon. It's 128 ounces. Do the math there, it's 12 cents per ounce. Okay, glue's a little different, and I was playing with this here. So glue, generally you have about 25% of the paint. You have more like 35% of the glue, and then about 40% of water. And I was playing with those calculations because there are different glues. Glue All is very thick. Craft Smart glue is a little bit thinner. The clear glue is much thinner. You put a little bit of water in clear glue and man, that stuff thins up really quickly. So I was just doing some calculations on that. That's why those were different. It's all relative. I just want to give you ballpark prices so you can understand how much paint and medium, how much it costs for your different size of canvases. So again, it's very similar to floetrol. It's a little bit less expensive than floetrol because you use more water. So you're using less medium, but the prices for all of those items are about the same. And last but not least, I'm Liquitex paint with a professional pouring medium, so Liquitex Pouring Medium. And in this case, I bought the pouring medium I got a gallon of pouring medium for $80. That's the retail price. All the prices I'm talking about here are retail prices. We'll talk about discounts in a minute. So that's 70 cents per ounce. I do the same math there. The nice thing about Liquitex is you can generally go about 4 parts Liquitex to 1 part paint, and then a little bit of water to consistency. So the price there is quite a bit more than floetrol and glue, but still less than paint and water. And then I did the same thing with the craft paint. Again, the Apple Barrel and Craft Smart. The ratios are different. Because this paint is already so thin, you only have to put about 10% water, and that is your calculation for how much, 45 cents per ounce for that mixture. When you do floetrol, you don't want to do very much. You don't want to go over about 1 part paint to 1 part floetrol. Even that, I think, is a little bit too much. You want to use slightly less than that when you add in the water. So 50, 40, 10%, about 30 cents per ounce. Glue, same type of thing, but you're using less glue and more water. So 50, 30, 20. And it comes out to roughly the same amount, 29 cents per ounce. And then craft paint with Liquitex Pouring Medium. And again, you only want to get to about 1-to-1, and it's about 57 per ounce. Honestly, I would never, ever use a very expensive pouring medium or professional pouring medium with craft paint unless it's a specialty paint. So we're talking the 24 karat gold, extreme sheen, maybe some of the new paints they've come out that are highly pigmented. But with a regular craft paint, I wouldn't ever use a pouring medium. You're just throwing your money away there. That shows that paint and water is the most expensive and gives you an average of what other paints cost. You can practice with craft paint, but I would get out of that as quickly as possible. Your paintings are just going to be duller. They're not going to look as well because that craft paint just doesn't have enough pigment to really make it pop like even student level acrylics have. But one thing you can do is a lot of places will give you a discount for buying bulk. So like I said before, the Liquitex Pouring Medium is about $80 for 128 ounces, but if you buy only 16 ounces, it's more like $1.10 per ounce. So by buying in bulk, you can save some money. This was a 4 ounce for Liquitex. If I got a 10 ounce, it turned out being more like $1.25 per ounce. And some of the other brands are even better when you buy in bulk. I'm sure you've probably seen Rinske Dauna. She has the big, huge Amsterdam paint on her wall there because they're so much cheaper to buy in huge quantities like that. But one thing we can do, for example, at the craft store, So Michael's, Joann's, places like that, you can actually get discounts, 25, 35, 45% off to make your paint be less expensive. So in this case, I'm going to do, you don't see 50 or 60 very often anymore, so I'm just going to do 40. And I'm going to put that across all of these. So if I get a 40% discount on my paint, you know, I only go in when I have a discount, 40%, and I buy a big tube of paint, I can actually cut my prices almost in half per ounce for the paint. That makes the student level acrylics very similar to the cost of a craft paint. The only thing we need to worry about there is, again, you only get those coupons, you know, once, twice a week, so you need to go in more to the store, which is obviously a time sink. Sometimes you can do it online if you have a big enough order to save a little money there. But it is one option. The problem with these craft ones is they're generally, to get the colors that you want, you generally either have to mix your own, or you have to get the big sizes, and the big sizes only come in like 5 colors. So it's harder because you get so much less paint. If I did a 24 by 36, I need 37 ounces of paint. That means I need like 15 or 20 of these to make enough paint, because I'm only doing one part this, one part pouring medium and water. So that's why I recommend getting the student level acrylics and buy in bulk to save money there. You can also get a discount on pouring medium. So for example, Liquitex, I could get a 40% discount on. And if you notice, that drops my price quite a bit for the Liquitex. But you can't really get a discount, or I've never found a good discount on floetrol or glue all. The Craft Smart glue, you can use that same type of discount on, but because it's already so low, you're not saving a huge amount of money by using your discounts on those. So I would always recommend, if you're buying bulk Liquitex, use your discount at Michael's or places like that. If you're not, always use your discount on paint, and preferably bulk paint. For those of you that do want to get some better insight on how to mix your own paint, I recommend you watch this video here.